520 years in the future, and about 35 hours of real time have passed, and our Four Corners has come to an end, or at least I've called it, just because at this point it seems like my processor is cooked and no longer able to handle anymore, which is surprising because we just did that 101 hour time lapse and it seemed to be going fine. But game has a much harder time when there are characters that have been living for so much longer than they naturally should. Enough about that. Let's jump in and see what happened to our Western representatives and why the East is so much more put together. Our boy, the beautiful Fama Garari, the king of the beauty and nobles, has died of offing himself. 137 years old. Unfortunate. What about the northwest representative? What happened to him? He lasted a little bit longer. He actually switched to Waldesian. That's a first, I think. And he was done in by the seas. The North Seas probably took him out this time. Which is surprising that he was too much of a cheapskate to pay for the the services of a proper captain so that he wouldn't have gone down in the waves, which is tough. Kagan Galzin, the Kagan of Dice, Northeast Kagan, is currently at war for the 29th time with the Southeast representative over what duchy? Looks like they were fighting over some random duchy. Some random duchy that the Southeast also owns. Land up here, which they, the Southeast, we have Emperor Pinbia, the strong arm, living to be 569 years. So these two boys still kicking. One's disfigured, one has herpes, is known for killing his own family. He's a drunk. He's got the gout. It doesn't look like the other one is faring much better. He's one-legged. He's a eunuch. He's got the cancer. It'd be interesting seeing how many wives he's each had. So we have one. He has had about 26 wives, and his first wife died of the cancer, which sucks. And as for this one, he had about 5 wives for whatever reason. So every 100 years, he takes a wife. So that's what our boy, the Kagan, is doing. Goofy stuff. Let us switch and look at what's going on with the Crusader of Akbarjin. That's really surprising to see that the papacy dropped a crusade on the Northeast and they were able to take this so internal land. Normally when that happens, I feel like that would be much almost impossible. I guess there is a decent amount of Catholics that would help out. As for the rest of the faiths, I really don't love that Tengri chose this purple. They went with a purple that's pretty much Orthodox. It's almost the exact same purple, if not like a slightly different shade. But it is Catholics, then Tengrians, Orthodox, and Siddhism, and Akam with a far distant fifth. Siddhism not being reformed is weird. I wonder what the reasoning behind that is. You're at war, and the inner journey is not allowed. So because the AI is unwilling to change their tenets for whatever reason, we just didn't get a conversion, which brings up the question, why is the AI unable to change their tenets at all? They have to just do a carbon copy of whatever. However, they can make the decision to change their culture on their own. Whatever reason they can establish that more likely. That brings up an interesting question that I did not realize that the AI was just, I understood that they were just doing it exactly the same, but I didn't realize they were incapable of changing it completely. Interesting things up here. So as always, let's jump right into, we've done faith already. Let's jump into some culture and see if there's any little naughty little cultures that have popped up. Brythonic French, Anglo-Cornish, English being formed. Once again, we started in 867, so it's interesting to see that happen. So it looks like when she became English, when did she become English? Maybe when her French father gained land in like Wessex. Story short, it was when the Holy Roman Empire showed up and formed their ugly empire. Also, what's going on with the Burgundian Empire? Tell me more about what's going on here. Looks like it was formed by a Carling, which is gross as always, who owned a bunch of land and then just decided to form the Empire Burgundia. I don't know why. They owned a bunch of different kingdoms, it looked like at one point. Sweden, West White Rus, Norway, Lithuania, Novgorod. Could have been any of these, but instead they went with the Burgundians. We also ran it with no empires because I wanted to see if that would influence the creation of new empires, which it kind of has, which we can jump to that point next. It looks like that's the funny thing is the Sicilians came in and said, you know what, screw your Byzantine Empire, we have the Sicilian Empire, and then the Holy Roman Empire is pretty much run out of France. It's like Francia, and then the Burgundian Empire is a weird conglomeration of different kingdoms, and Northwest owns the British Isles plus different parts of Iceland. West Empire that was formed, and it looks like Southeast was formed almost all of India, and then for some reason Northeast never got de jure land for whatever reason. I'm not sure if that's because they're unable to do that, or it was an already existing title that he stole from and did a tribal cause for, so that's why it probably didn't get add its own de jure land. Interesting. We probably know who the most powerful is. It's probably Southeast, as we saw with 400. Bavaria is beating out Sicily, and then same with the Burgundy and the Empire of the HRE. As for houses, I wanted to see if there was major changes when it comes to legacies. It looks like they're all but one of them is missing. It doesn't look like they have the Norse one like some of the other families would. Yeah, and this one doesn't have very many. Northeast has a lot. That makes sense because they've been around for a while and probably had keep just giving land to their family. What about Southeast? Same. Looks like they were both on pretty quick paces to get those things done, which is very cool. So what have we learned from this time lapse? I think the major thing we learned is that the AI is still making weird Crusader states. I think that's funny. I love when weird Crusader states appear because it doesn't happen as often. That means a crusade has succeeded. We also learned that the AI is incapable of changing their tenets, or they would have been able to reform this faith, which is still surprising because they must be taking so much time to convert this land. Yeah, 98 years. Jesus. It's probably taking like 15 different shamans' lifetimes to get it all said and done. Imagine living with gout for 500 years. That just sounds terrible with no remedy in sight, or even worse, the liver spox. That would be just absolutely terrible. But that's all I have for you for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And as always, have a good rest of your day. Ciao.